be able to see us now, but once this comes up, I'm gonna calm this down so we don't have dual audio.
Oh, cool. Dua Lipa. Let's go to live.
Sorry. Oh, sent to a third party. Okay. All right.
I think that's muted.
Do I need to be muted?
No, you're good.
Not just yet.
Okay.
We want to get a prayer out of you.
Oh, you
Out of
two
me?
just said something.
Okay.
This is like the NASA headquarters getting ready for the big launch.
And we're off.
Yep. Kentucky Derby of sorts. Okay. I'll share this. Share now. Bingo.
Ah, these things.
All right. Oh, I did the wrong thing. Go live. There we go. All right.
Is it live?
We're live.
We're
Welcome
live.
to YouTube, everybody. Welcome to the Funniest Thing Middle School Studios. Welcome to West Virginia. Welcome all, everyone. Before we officially kick off the audio portion, would you please share a prayer with us, blessing the show, Sally? Whatever else you want to bless.
Okay. Holy Father, we have come together today to enjoy each other's company and to have fun learning the Word of God. All of the things that we know are in us. We just don't realize how great it is when someone brings it back to our attention and we see the strength and the willpower and the imagination that comes into our minds. So we ask today to be told and enjoyed by those who have joined us to see what it's like to really believe that the Word of God is there for all of us and everyone to take advantage of and enjoy their lives as best they can. And so we say, thank you, and all is well. Amen.
Amen. All right. You can mute, turn off your
Okay.
camera, and we'll
See you later.
see you
Yes.
soon. Okay.
Is that almost ready?
Yep. You ready? They're not seeing. Oh, yeah. Why is it look
There
like
you
that?
go.
Oh, cool. All right.
Are you ready, Ed?
Yes, this is going to be a great show.
Welcome to The Funniest Thing,
Yes.
where each week we share stories about how stepping out boldly always leads to better than expected outcomes. I'm Daryl,
I'm Ed.
and we're broadcasting live from Middle School Studios in beautiful downtown Culver City, the heart of Screenland.
Yes. It is great to be here. Great to be here. We got a great show. A good reminder to light a little candle wherever you go with the prayer chaplain Sally Reed Snyder. Every kind deed, every noble act pays off double. You get your first payoff the instant you do it by the joy that it releases. The second payoff comes later on, for no human action is exempt from repercussions. The world must eventually react to any good act, and the bread you cast upon the waters will be returned to you on some later tide. You just don't know when it's going to come back, but it will. Shed peace, not discord, wherever you go. Try to be part of the cure in every situation, not part of the problem. Always try to build up, never to tear down. Man, we're working on that. Show others by your example. That happiness comes from living with faith in the good and the choice to express love. The power of your example is greater than the power of what you say. Be the good in the neighborhood. On this episode, Daryl and Ed motivate listeners to bring something good into every situation, knowing that it will set off a ripple effect. And during the second segment, prayer chaplain Sally Reed Snyder gets our week off to a wonderful start with today's reading, which is Work with Joy.
Are you going to be the good in the neighborhood today, Ed?
Yes, that's actually the Fusaro family tagline. You guys just got interviewed for that Culver City Neighborhood magazine.
That's true.
Isn't that what you told them it was your motto, you and Lori?
Yeah, they asked, what's our motto? I said, be the good in the neighborhood.
There you go. I mean, that is the solution right there, and it's often an overlooked solution, and that's what really this show is all about, because it's so easy if we're not in tune with our divinity and doing our morning routine and studying and practicing this stuff to believe that we have no influence, or that it doesn't matter what we do or what we say or how we show up. But that is completely false, because it really does matter. It starts by how the way we get to experience life, and then it extends out into blessing everyone else. And then before you know it, life becomes a joyride.
No human act is exempt from repercussions.
Yeah. So you wrote this this description rather early this week. What inspired you for the show this week?
Oh, because I saw a quote on Saturday. I think it was last Saturday or Sunday. There isn't enough darkness in all the world to snuff out the light of one little candle.
Oh yeah, you were super excited about that.
So then
go ahead.
So then it made me think about the origin of those people who make little candles and put a coin in the
Oh, I'm one of those people, man.
coin box.
Yes.
But I was thinking, well, maybe that was just a metaphor for we should go about our day lighting little candles wherever we go. So I made that my intention for that day, that wherever I went, I'm going to be conscious that I'm lighting little candles in my behavior and how I interact or think about others.
Yes.
Instead of snuffing them out, even in my own mind with my grumbling, complaining.
Yes.
You know, these people aren't doing it the way they ought to be in my mind.
Yep.
And here's another little quote that came up that same day. The more light we can generate for others, the better we can see ourselves.
Wow.
And it doesn't just mean see ourself. It means we can see the world better, meaning when I'm busy being generous with joy to others, being quick to forgive in my mind, you know, people we see over and over in our life. Some of them we see and go, oh, not this guy. I don't want to talk to him right now. Well,
right.
The more I switch to just be generous in my mind, in the way I'm thinking of them, think of them in a new way, well, it starts to cause a new groove in my subconscious to where subconsciously I'm reinforcing the truth that I am well taken care of. So I can afford to be generous and kind, more patient with others.
Yes.
Because I am well taken care of. That's what this does subconsciously. And it's because when I'm thinking, these people are getting in my way in traffic, I got to get there. When I'm thinking of everybody as a nuisance to my good or getting in the way of it, well, then I'm reinforcing in my subconscious that I live out of lack. There's not enough to go around. I got to fight for everything I get.
Yes.
I got to fight to protect everything I have. But by just this simple intention of thinking, it's such a positive, lighthearted idea. I'm just going to light little candles wherever I go. which could be a wave, which could be a smile, which could be noticing something and complimenting that person on it, which
Yeah.
could be noticing something and not complimenting them on it, but complimenting them in our mind, which
Yeah.
is a powerful prayer. I mean, this doesn't mean you have to go interrupt strangers.
Right.
It's not about me trying to get attention as a good guy. It's me being a secret, undercover agent of God's love. And I love this because where it says in the writing, you get two payoffs. One is when you live this way and you compliment people, or you notice people, or you do something, it doesn't even have to be that out of your way. Like just this morning, there was, some trash might have flew out of someone's trash bin or whatever in the middle of the street. You just pick it up and I put it in my trash. You instantly get a good feeling because
Yep.
that means that good feeling is I would say, like, to tell if I'm on the beam of being in sync with the harmony of the universe, being in sync with God's will for me. When we get that good feeling, it means, okay, you're on the right path. You're in line with your greater good. You're connected to your good fortune. And the other thing, so right away we get a high and we get this subconscious benefit of reinforcing the truth that we are well provided for. And it also is, without realizing it, a way of recognizing the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Meaning I'm following the sheep herder's directions when we have these little inklings to just do good with no real payoff, either by approval or by anything other than we're just going in a good way, which is what the origin of the word discipline means. But the other thing is, the second payoff comes guaranteed, for no human action is exempt from repercussions. The world must eventually react to any good act, and the bread you cast upon the waters will be returned to you at some later tide. And this goes hand in hand with people who get uncomfortable with tithing. Who am I supposed to tithe to? You know what I mean? If you're not belong to a specific church. And tithing is very beneficial because it gets you out of the loop of I have to get this money from somewhere for myself, for my needs, as opposed to God provides all the money I need right when I need it. God is my source. If I lose this job, I'll get a better one. I've proved that time and time again. Whereas these are just channels. God is the source. So what about tithing? Well, you could start thinking of these good little deeds as tithes.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be financial to be a tithe. And you're building up. Oh, and, not so much to do it just because I'm going to get something back. But if that gives you a little oomph to just get in the habit of trying this for a week or a couple of days until it becomes a habit, you're going to see significant returns. You will. And then the best quote that really I thought was the one that really got me excited just because of the way it's worded is, how far that little candle throws his beam, so shines a good deed in a naughty world.
Yes.
And that's by Shakespeare from The Merchant of Venice. And I thought, man, I want to live like that. I want to live more and more just with the intention of lighting little candles wherever I go. Don't you, Ed?
I do. You're not going to believe this. Yesterday, I keep bringing this book up, Miracle Power for Infinite Riches by Joseph Murphy. And I brought it today, and I couldn't even remember why I brought it. But just a few lines that go perfectly with what you're talking about here. He says, man's faith in God must be personally demonstrated And we're talking about very simple, practical demonstrations like Daryl's talking about.
Lighting little candles
Yeah.
is lighting little candles. These little acts
Yeah,
of
yeah.
generosity and kindness in thought, word, or deed is expressing God's will.
Yeah. It's funny you say that too, because I used to sit in St. Augustine's when we used to visit there before they started locking it up. We would get coffee at the con all the time. And I just intuitively, I found, because what I was just coming back to the church and, like experiencing it in a new way, like you like to send people into a museum. I was experiencing it for myself in a way that had meaning for me. And that what you said is exactly what used to help me. I would imagine that candle, because it's if you can sit quietly with a candle and feel that light is inside of you,
Yes.
and see it I would see it in everyone in all the schools. And that combination was the winning combo.
Well, that's one last thing I want to say. That's
go
the
ahead.
image in my head. When we go around with this joyful, pleasant intention, it doesn't mean you have to necessarily, say, good morning, sir, or interrogate people. How are you today?
Right.
But what it was doing in my mind
Yeah.
was I could feel this light radiating from it. And when I'm walking past people, no matter who they were, I'd imagine like me with that little stick that you used to pay your coin in the little shekel. I remember you put a little shekel in a tin bin and go clunk.
Oh, we're talking about the candles again.
And then you would take a little stick.
Yeah, I was using bills, but okay, I'm
I
with
would
you.
watch Ed clunk a little shekel.
Okay.
And
The
then-
shekel was a bill, but yes. Go ahead.
So, but don't you
Yeah,
can
then you light it.
imagine.
I love lighting it with that little stick.
You
Yes.
can imagine as you're walking around with these pleasant ideas on the behalf of others in your mind that you're like going pink with that little magic
Yeah.
wand of a stick. And you just imagine them lit up. That little light got relit because
Yeah.
of how you're thinking and feeling about them. And thinking and feeling is prayer. When that thinking and feeling of goodness, like that really is the two or more are gathered. When those
Yeah.
two things are in combination within yourself on the behalf of someone else, because we're all one,
Yes.
we're all connected. That's why we could pray for the healing of someone who's 3,000, 4,000 miles away,
Yep.
because we're all connected. You imagine actually just going poof, like lighting a little pilot light.
Yes.
It is such an incredible exercise.
That's right. And the beauty of it is the light is always shining. Our job is to bring it into conscious awareness
Yes.
in this reality. But everyone's got it there. So when we waken it within our own mind and then, remind them of their light, it's already there. We just got to wake up to what's already there. So he says, Joseph Murphy says, man's faith in God must be personally demonstrated. Just means step out boldly, live it, be joyful, and it will appear in the light in his eyes. His affluence, demonstrating his faith in the law of opulence, will surely be indicative, as will his trust and understanding of the bountiful nature of the providence of God. Man reflects his confidence in himself and the powers within him by his positive manner, gestures, speech, and the sunshine of his smile.
And you know what's funny? Just today, we read every morning. We recommend that. We highly recommend. And it's not just us. It's everyone. All these great philosophers. Remember we found someone wrote about how even Jesus in the Bible, when he would wake up, would take the time
Yeah.
to get his head on straight, to connect
Right.
with God. So we do that. And, a lot of times I read the same books every year, but every time I read that, when that new paragraph comes up, because I have changed, I see it in a new way.
Right.
But then just so happens yesterday's reading.
Well, what you're talking about with Jesus is like we should all be encouraged because
Yeah.
he would go into these places, he would bless someone, help them reawaken their Christ, whether it's a tax collector, help them remember who they were.
Yeah.
But he didn't go, oh, I love this place, I'm just going to stay here and live with this tax collector. He would go back up to the mount, to the higher elevation and meditate and remember who he was and then go on to the next thing. He wouldn't set up shop. He just go kind of in and out, being in the world, but not of it.
He was lighting little candles
Lighting little
wherever he
candles.
went, like Johnny Appleseed.
And then those candles would go out and light other
more.
candles. It's amazing.
So in 2021, I wrote, which goes perfect with this show. I didn't know that I was going to read this at the beginning of the week when the topic came to mind.
Right.
But I wrote, success follows me wherever I go as I bless and give love in thought, word, or deed. And that's what
Yes.
Murphy was saying, where affluent means, and it's funny that he said living in affluence, because affluence means to be in the flow.
Yes. And you know, it's being in the flow with who you really are. This is the good news about this. This is why I love these teachers. Because a lot of us have gone through trying to find different costumes, trying to make ourselves into someone new, you know, because we want to experience that divine self. We want to experience, but this stuff tells us you already are that. You like, that's why I like what you're saying. It's about, when you were talking about, we don't have to make a show of it.
No.
It's just about returning to my natural self, renewing my connection with the truth of who I am. I'm not inventing a different me. I'm remembering who I already am. And I have to use morning routine. I have to go, Jesus may have went up the hill. I go into my car and I'll listen to something. I'll read something. I'll do a little napitation. Anything to keep resetting myself to remember who I am. Because, well, and something else that I wrote that you said earlier was that blessing others frees my mind from worrying about myself.
Yeah.
And that keeps me open to the good flowing in. Because the only thing that ever stops it from flowing into my awareness is when I'm worried about myself. I'm actually pushing it away. It is effortless to live this way once we get on the frequency of blessings. Once we tap into that frequency, that's why this is a natural and normal thing. We don't have to go, just get in the flow, like you said. It really is getting in a flow with the day. Once we're on that frequency, we recognize our own blessings and appreciate them, and recognize and appreciate the blessings in others. And we also function as a conduit for those blessings we become a blessing. And remember, blessing and bliss, happiness, joy, these have the same origins. Blessing and blissing have this, it's bringing joy back into life. I mean, it changes everything. This way of living changes everything.
Well, on this way of thinking about as you're going through your day, even in traffic,
Yeah.
you know, with the other drivers, like I did yesterday, I just started, you know what, I'm just going to bless everybody. Imagining the blessing. And I got so high from it. I was almost like, I go, I should let that person next to me know they have a wonderful automobile.
Right.
And I almost had to stop myself because I was like, wait a minute, they're going to think you're a nut job. But Daryl, you could just keep that love going.
Right.
You know? But here's the thing, like you just said, thinking of your intention for the day as I'm just going to light little candles wherever I go. That's the same thing as saying, I'm going to bless everyone who comes to mind or who I meet on the street. You know what I mean? With
Yes.
thought, with my thoughts,
Yes.
or with my words, or with my deeds, little things I'm motivated to do, like picking up the piece of paper, the trash. And like you said, so what does that do? That gets me in harmony with affluence, which is I'm in that flow, in that same groove as all the good and all the blessings.
Yes.
And most of all, my unique good fortune. Whereas I can stop now trying to figure out what it is. I mean, there may be some things that I've turned over to God that I need or I think I require at this moment. But for the most part, living this way, you can kind of just enjoy taking all the stress off yourself about trying to figure out what it is you need to be doing
Yeah.
to become more or better.
Yes.
What it is that you need to be doing, you know, greater that you are right now. If there's some creative ideas you think you ought to be doing something more. Well, by just making the intention, I'm just going to light little candles wherever I go. I give up. That's the best thing you could say, because that is going to put you in the frequency, like Ed said, of blessing. And what that means is now I'm tuned in and magnetic to my unique good that will come in an unexpected and wonderful way. And I could guarantee it. There was a good Emmett Fox from this morning, and it goes along, it reinforces this. And two things. One is the food you furnish your mind determines the character of your life. The subjects that you allow your mind to dwell upon make your surroundings what they are. And the Bible verse is, as thy days, so shall thy strength be, from Deuteronomy 33, verse 25, which in modern language may be translated, as thy thoughts, so shall thy life be. Everything in your life today, the state of your body, the state of your fortune, the state of your home, the present condition of every phase of your life is entirely conditioned by the habitual tone of your past thinking. And the condition of your life next week and next year will be conditioned by the thoughts and feelings that you entertain from now onward. In other words, you choose your life. And it goes on to say, thought is the real causative force in life, and there is no other. You cannot have one kind of mind and another kind of environment. You cannot change your environment while leaving your mind unchanged. This is the real key to life. If you change your mind, your conditions must change too. Your body must change. Your activities must change. Your home must change. The color tone of your whole life must change. And be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Now, that doesn't mean you must change your body. No, you must change your body or your affairs. It says no. Just get in these healthier habits of mind.
Yep.
And success will follow you wherever you go. Things will shift. Things will change. Things that you've been dreading will atrophy and go away. And things you've been desiring because they are in your mind because God put them there, now there's no obstruction for them finding you, whatever it is.
Yeah, and this is a process of denial and affirmation
Yes.
that we're talking about. Like there comes a time where and for me recently, there's been coming this clarity, and I've been grateful to be reading Emma Curtis Hopkins, Raymond Charles Barker, Joseph Murphy, all these authors all these teachers, reminding me that it is denial. So last night I took a walk, and no one was around. I started talking to myself like that. Look, I don't believe in that. There are certain things coming up. I don't even remember what they were, but instead of just what I'm over, like they're overtaking me. They've been going on so long. I guess I just got to either go along with it or just sit here and hope for the best. Instead, I just took a walk and I just said a few denials, and then I just started affirming what I know on a deeper level, which is all things are working for my good. Look at this day. Look at this street. This is amazing. I have a great car. I'm married. I started just going into affirming my good, and I instantly started shifting, getting higher in my frequency, getting on the blessing frequency. And then when I woke up this morning and did my morning routine, at some point it clicked in that all the good in my life comes from the good thoughts. The richness comes from rich thoughts.
Yes.
I wrote that. Thank you, God. In God is my good. In good is more good. In joy is more good joy. In health is more health. In wealthy thoughts is more wealth. In thoughts of friendship, there's more friendship. In musical thinking, there are infinite songs. It was so clear for me this morning. And now I'm glad I wrote it down because it's reminding me of how clear I felt in that moment, which was just, wow, I had that simple awareness that what all these teachers are saying is true. What Emmett Fox, we don't want to be, when we're in a negative state, don't worry. A lot of it, sometimes it's on its way out. It's, like old patterns, there's nothing, and then you just dummy down and you just go, I wonder what good's going to come from this, and then do the next thing that's in front of you. But once in a while, and more often than not, if you do a daily morning routine and do these readings, you're going to have these windows where the good opens up, and then you can really affirm. And today it was just so clear. Wow. It changed my whole day, because I was just like, and I'm not even going to wrestle with the bad. That's not even true anyway. The good. I'm just going to keep putting the good out. And it changed everything about the way I experienced my day. And because the other thing that you brought to mind was when Wallace Wattles said something in The Science of Getting Rich about giving other people a feeling of increase. He says, everyone wants increase. Everyone inside of them has a true desire for increase. So when you walk up, and I look at it two ways. I feel I have to affirm in my morning routine that everything in my life is increasing, and everything in the people around me is increasing. And when we walk around with that feeling of blessing people, with a feeling of increased good, that is exactly what we're talking about lighting the candle. Because some people have given up. Parts of my brain have given up on increased good. Right? Oh, I'm this age, or this thing happened. But none of that is true. None of that is rooted in truth. None of that is rooted in principle. Principle is ever increasing good. We just got to get on board with it. And it takes practice, and it's worth it. It's the only thing worth practicing in some ways.
You reminded me when the Jehovah's Witnesses came to my door.
Oh, that was an amazing
yesterday.
story.
Yeah, I thought it was Lori, and it got me.
Uh-huh.
Because I thought Lori put something in her car, and sometimes she'll forget something and then ring the doorbell, because I knew she was on her way out. Mm-hmm. And it was the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Right.
And they said, may I share a Bible verse with you? Could you use a Bible verse? I said, I got my favorite Bible verse already. Really? I said, yep. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Isn't that a good one? Yeah, that is. But do you know the ones about government? And I said, yes, the government shall be on his shoulders, so I don't have to worry. The captains on the bridge. No, I mean our governments. What governments? Our governments. Because it sounds like you're talking about the God we believe in, his kingdoms. But we're talking about, I guess, local governments.
Yeah.
And I said, well, you brought up another good point. I like to keep my head in the clouds with God and my feet firmly planted on the ground to be an ambassador of his love. And then I think I short-circuited their brain. So they said, oh, wow, okay, maybe we'll come back another day when you want to hear about these earthly governments. I said, all right, we'll see you later. God bless you.
That's amazing.
Short-circuit him. But what I wanted to say was yesterday, you can apply, what I want to say is experiment with this stuff.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I was far away from the house, and Lori was on a photo shoot, and I got a notice that a package was delivered. And just that morning, our friend Kirk from Germany, before I left the house, goes, do you have porch pirates in your neighborhood? Now, I haven't thought about porch pirates. These are the people that steal your packages.
You were just talking about porch pirates with that friend of yours, but go ahead.
No, that's because Kirky brought it up.
I know, but then that other friend brought it up too, about living in Los Feliz.
Yes. So there's porch pirates. So
I want a porch pirate. Could that be like a nice little statue of a pirate we put on our porch?
That's what I'm going to start manufacturing those.
Okay, good. Funniest thing, porch pirates.
So I see the box, and normally they'll tuck the box behind one of the chairs on our patio out front on the porch. And it's right there, front and center, like at the edge. You sent me a picture when we got these lights for the studio, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, normally they tuck it behind.
Yeah.
Very nice. So it's out there, and I'm, you know what I said? I said, you know what? I am gonna own this stuff.
Yeah.
Meaning, there's a great quote by Thoreau, one of my favorites by Thoreau, by the way, and it says, "Whatever we give to whatever we give to God, God does and blesses us."
Mm-hmm.
So instead of thinking, "Oh no, I better get home quick. Hopefully Lori will get home quick," and then constantly thinking of as soon as I finish with these people, I'm gonna race back.
Yeah.
I said, nope. I am gonna give this to God. God's gonna do it and bless me, and I am gonna prove this. And I could already see myself telling the guy who I was meeting with that I'm gonna be telling him, yep, of course, safe and sound. just like I affirmed with, by trusting God.
Yes.
And this isn't being sacrilegious. This is practicing faith. Faith is joyful expectancy. When you're in harmony with that way of thinking and feeling, well, you're going to seem divinely protected to others.
Yes.
But this weird idea that somehow it's sacrilegious or arrogant to think that way
Yep.
is the worst lie that society puts on us, because the feeling you get means you're in that unit. When I take myself out of it by thinking, oh no, it's not going to be there, someone's going to take it, that puts me that gets me out of being in tune with blessing. And then that's when problems happen.
Yep.
Because I am choosing to unhook myself from it
Yeah.
with these fearful, morbid, expecting thoughts.
Yeah.
So we're saying here, choose to just make it your intention. Even if you just did it for an hour today. Even if you just went about your business, whatever it is, you're going to Trader Joe's, the Grand Union, wherever you shop, just say, you know what? I'm just going to be a candle, lighting little candles in my mind, in my thoughts, seeing the little light up in other people as I pass them.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if these knuckleheads really are, if this stuff is really going to do anything. And I want you to try it because I know it will work.
Yeah.
I know you'll be impressed and pleasantly surprised. And I hope some of you send us an email or text us or something just to let us know, because it just keeps reinforcing this truth. And it's a principle. It's scientific.
Yes.
That's why they called it a divine science. What Jesus brought was this simple method of applying our mind, getting our mind in agreement with spiritual principles that are just as powerful and effective as the laws of gravity.
Yes.
And other laws
Oh yeah, it's
that
principle.
we have proven.
Science.
It's a scientific rule.
All right. So thank you to the Patreon subscribers. We appreciate that. Patreon.com/funniest thing. You know all about the Tuesday Prosperity Patreons. We love you all. Cece jumped on with us this week, and so did Greg. And
Yep.
was it Greg? Who was it?
Yeah, Glenn.
Glenn. Yeah, not Greg. Greg's the fellow from Santa Barbara. And then thank you, Sherry Knight, for sending us a Christmas card.
Yep.
Funniest Thing mailbox, P.O. Box 1312, Culver City, California, 90232. We want to thank our chief engineer. Gets us up and running every week audio on the audio podcasts. If you're on YouTube and you want to take us with you, hit the podcast apps. You'll find Funniest Thing with Daryl and Ed there. And each week, Jeff Comfort takes us right into the comfort zone.
Well, with the audio, he does our audio. If you're listening,
Oh, yeah, that's what I
if
just
you're
said.
listening online, you'll hear all the special effects. Did Daniel show up?
Oh, yeah, Daniel's watching.
Well, he's the guy I got to tell later about the package.
Yeah, he said he's excited to watch. Grace Deathridge said, hey, Daryl and Ed, all in all, I just popped in to say hi, and we'll tune in to listen more soon. Thank you both for affirming truth, because she's in the UK, so she probably had to go night-night. Listen to this. Yogi Vajrapala, actually Yogi the Clown now, said, he sent us this morning, this prayer. I am aligned with love. I radiate unconditional love and receive love in abundance. My heart is open to giving and receiving love. I welcome love into my life. I spread love to those around me and fill my own cup with self-love. Every cell in my body vibrates with love. I am love.
Well, can you make that so we can all see it?
I can figure out how to do that.
Copy and paste.
We'll copy and paste it into the YouTube's or into
Everywhere.
the descriptions, everywhere you want to be. Anything else before we go to the break? Oh, should we sit back and grin? Because joy always wins.
Yeah, we got 3
All right,
breaths.
let's take a deep breath to clear our mind. I sit back and grin because joy always wins.
I sit back and grin because joy always wins.
I sit back and grin Because joy always wins. And that came directly from an experience I had with this where I was feeling so happy. Daryl loved surfing. And the guy next to me wasn't quite in that state of mind. And I just realized I was having the best time. And I could just see joy is what is making me have the best time. The joy I'm bringing to this situation, not what's happening around me. Joy always wins. That is 100% accurate. So coming up next, prayer chaplain Sally Reed Snyder gets our week off to a wonderful start with today's reading, Work with Joy. Thank you for listening. The Funniest Thing with Daryl and Ed, live from middle school studios in beautiful downtown Culver City, the heart of Screenland. All right.
Are you going to kick it off with that?
Sure.
All right. I'm going to do a quick fix.
Tinkle, if you will. Tinkle, if you will. Tinkle, 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 if you will. All right. We're about to start the second segment. Sally Snyder. Turn on your phone. Turn on your camera so we can see you.
The audio host
got your-
has stopped it. Wait a minute.
Let me see if I can do it.
You cannot start your video because the host has stopped it.
Oh, how about now?
Start my video.
There we go. Our bad. We didn't mean to block you out.
Oh, that's okay.
It's an interesting
right.
day. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
That was great. That was
Well,
great.
thank you. As soon as we get a little tinkle break, Daryl's
I
going.
see your dog behind you. Who's this?
Oh, that's Gidget. That's Daryl's dog. Daryl and Lori's dog. They're always rescuing animals. Yeah,
I have cats.
me too. They have dogs and cats. In fact, they have a dog. They have a cat that doesn't have eyes, and yet somehow uses intuitive and all of its other senses to jump up on tables and chase toys around. It is miraculous. It is really amazing to see Eleanor do her thing. Where are your cats at?
Yeah. Mine?
Yeah.
Oh, they're right here beside me. I've got actually 11 cats.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
No. Well, they're all rescues. I've picked them up. They've come to my house. They bang at the door and say, "Let me in." And I say, "Okay."
They know where to go.
They do.
The word is out.
The word is out. I am officially the cat lady.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, I love what you all are talking about. This is really good stuff.
Okay, good. We don't want to. Well,
really into unity thought.
Yeah, but that's why, man. Well, I don't want to say too much, but I will say for the people on YouTube that when I heard your talk, I was like, I told Daryl right away. I was like, we got to get this person on the show, man. They're Sally's talking about it the way we talk about it, and the personal connection. The practical personal connection that you have with it is what always makes us go, wow, we want to know this person. So,
well, that's how I live. I'm just little Miss Sunshine.
I love
walk
that.
around and I really do.
Yes.
A lot of my friends always say, "How come you're so nice?" And I said, "Well, there's no reason not to be.
Right.
It doesn't make any difference. You don't have to be mean to people to get along.
Right.
If they don't want to, they don't have to."
Right. That's so true. I love that. What did Gidget get us? Oh, cookies or candies. Nice. Hold on. I'm gonna do the same thing you just did.
These are delicious dark chocolate truffles.
Oh, I love that. All right. Hop in. We'll be right back. I'm gonna run.
All right.
All right.
What are you eating there?
Mm.
I want one.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. What's wrong with it? That's not a good face.
It's so chocolatey.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe it had bourbon in it or something.
Oh, no. No, just
Rum balls.
the best. Yeah, this is just pure chocolate. Wow. All right. I'm very excited.
What do you want me to do first? The saying from Kramer?
We could do that. We're going to introduce the segment.
Yeah, we'll set it up.
Yeah,
Okay,
It'll all work out naturally.
just follow along.
Yep. Okay.
are you ready, Ed?
We are ready.
Are you bringing us in?
Yeah, I'll bring us in. All right. Welcome back to Funniest Thing with Daryl and Ed. Today's show is called Light a Little Candle Wherever You Go with prayer chaplain Sally Reed Snyder. I'm very excited. That's why I'm tripping over my words because Sally, welcome to the show, first of all.
Thank you. Appreciate the invite.
And some of the people on YouTube already heard us chat a little bit, but I just wanted to let everyone know that it's the funniest thing that you're here because every time Janet Prince speaks at Unity of Kanawha Valley, she knows we love it, so she'll send us the YouTube link. And so I'm watching the Janet Prince talk.
Yep.
I fast forward it because unless I'm in the church, I'm just going to pretty much listen to the talk. I don't usually.
I mean, you're not listening to the music, the announcements, but you want the meat and potatoes.
Yeah. So, if I specifically sit down at 10 a.m. and I want to catch the whole service, that's one thing. But the reason I mention that, so I fast forward, I watched Janet Prince's, and I swear, in my mind, I did nothing different but fast forward the same talk, and I saw Sally talking. And Sally was talking about how she got into Unity and her personal story. So I text Janet. I was like, your talk was amazing. And so was Sally. So she's like, oh, you watched the talk the week before. And so somehow I had watched two different services without even clicking, but it was meant to be. It was, like you said, I think you used the words divine providence when I mentioned that. So yeah, it was meant to be. And on the break, I was mentioning that we love anyone who lives this stuff practically and applies it in personally. And you were saying that you really are Little Miss Sunshine.
Yes.
So first of all, let's hear about that. Why are you Little Miss Sunshine?
Well, I came from a family that was very happy people. We did go to church. My dad took myself and my brother to church every Sunday. I was raised Presbyterian, and I really enjoyed going to church. I learned a lot from it, and I enjoyed it. And it was just a very important part of my life. My grandmother, who was very, and I use the word very a lot, but she was a very religious lady. She liked church. She loved the part of it that, that everybody goes for. But when she got older, she was unable to get to church. So she would watch TV, the televangelists back in the 60s on television, and I would be at her house. And every now and then there would be a advertisement for Silent Unity. And I thought, well, why is this on with these televangelists or whatever you want to call them back in the day? And sure enough, that was where I heard about Unity. So as I got older and I sat in the Presbyterian church and they hawked all their stories at me and I didn't understand a lot of what they were trying to tell me, I started reading other books. And a lot of the books that you all have mentioned today are things that I had read back in the day. I'm in my early 70s and I have got a lot of long-term reading involved in all of this. But again, what you all are talking about and what Unity talks about is the fact that God is in everything. God is everywhere. God is for people to believe and to love and to take care of the world and everything in it. And everything is a part of that. So when I started getting that message, I knew that Unity was for me. And I went looking for a Unity church and people that believed the same thing like you guys. So for me, just being happy and trying to spread the good word is what I was all about. It doesn't hurt to smile at people and say hello. I mean, people look at you and think, oh, I think I know them. But theoretically you don't, but they looked like they needed a love or a hug or a smile or whatever, and I give it to them. I don't say no. I try to be as nice as I can to everybody. That's it.
Same here. Same here.
Yeah. Yes. So, who are some of your favorite teachers to read from that people might be able to, our listeners, or might be able to tap in with as well?
Well, I like Catherine Ponder,
Oh, yes.
and I like Marianne Williamson. I
Yep.
really got into the Course in Miracles. I thought that I've done several courses with that. I've also liked Norman Vincent Peale,
Yep.
a lot of the older ones, the ones that actually started the New Thought movement. Uh, some of the ones that from a long time ago were very interesting because they gave you a new perspective. When you go to church and all you hear is what's read from the Bible, and when you listen to what they're saying, they put it into more of a context that makes it livable.
Yeah.
When you're reading the King James version and you're like there and thou and all that other stuff, you're like, I don't get this. What are they trying to tell me? So that is something that I think we needed back years ago, or even today, is to make it simple so that we understand it, so people can um, make sense out of it and live it. They I hate to say this, but a lot of the Christian churches have put so much emphasis on what you were talking about, the government, and how they believe and how they see things and how we're supposed to believe. That's not what God and Jesus had in mind. And I think that that's where unity and all the new thought writers and the people that you all are talking about are the ones that we need to pay more attention to, pray about, think about, put ourselves in that position to do the daily work. Just like you were talking about getting up in the morning and doing your routine. That is a very important way to start your day. And then to do it at the end of your day just as well so you can sleep at night.
Yeah.
Yeah. The whole thing that got excited me about what I was learning from these authors early on was I was first introduced to Emmett Fox,
Mhm.
and I had no interest in church up until this point. I was 22 or 23 at the time. And up until that point, it just, what was the point? You know what I mean? Plus, I had a lot of seemingly negative things happen within my family. And I just kind of threw this idea of God out with Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. Like, okay, so little old ladies believe in this. That's nice, but how is this gonna help me? I need help. Like, how is there any benefit to this? Maybe I need psychological help. I was putting more faith in that because this just didn't seem to have anything in it practical until I
Yeah.
read Emmett Fox. And this is the litmus test, right? It means the actual test to see if anything that they're saying in the Bible is worth anything to us on an individual basis. And the great news is if you apply what it says, once you get an understanding that this book, the Bible, is about me, it's about you, and it's
Mhm.
about psychological states we find ourselves in, and it offers a solution through prayer, a new way of looking at things, and faith in this mysterious power we call God, and that it's good, that it's caring, that life, that this God, this energy is always on the side of life. It's always expanding, progressing. My body is constantly healing. And if I could just learn, and we do through these readings and everything Ed and I share on the show, how to get my thoughts in agreement with believing in these principles,
Mhm.
that I act accordingly, well, then I'm going to get the results.
Mhm.
And that is that is what sold me, that
Mhm.
this is practical. And then when you go back now, and once my mind woke up to that, well, no matter how well versed I was in biblical stories or parables, once my
Mhm.
mind understood that that's what this is, then I could read any or hear any of these biblical stories and see them as allegory or metaphors
Yeah.
for me to apply, and things will work out accordingly. And then to understand, well, why are they written like that? And then
Yeah.
even learning, well, they're written like that so they could survive the test of time. They're written
Mm.
like this so anybody anywhere can understand them at any level. And no matter
Mhm.
what level you understand them, even if it's just to practice good behavior, you're going to benefit from that. But then
Yeah.
as it gets deeper and you really understand that if I bless a thing, it blesses me. If I curse a thing, it curses me. And if
Mhm.
I live by love and faith, well, then I'm going to experience, my circumstances are going to reflect that to me. And if I'm not experiencing that, I can see my thinking has
Yeah.
gone negative and I started cursing things. But here's the thing, God doesn't do spite work. As soon as I bring my mind back and say, okay, I don't want to think this way anymore, like Ed was saying, a denial, I'm not going to believe in this. This doesn't work. I know that. And then start bringing my mind back to having that faithful attitude, well, what happens? I've even done this in traffic here in LA where I'm like, oh, this is how I'm not. I go, Daryl, no, bless it, bless it. And I'll put on a podcast that talks about stuff we're talking about, or I'll change the music, or I'll put on, one of my books on tape, a Catherine Ponder, whatever it
Mhm.
is, or I'll talk to someone on the phone because now we could drive hands free and have a conversation with someone who thinks like we do and isn't going to join me in the complaining about LA traffic. And before I know it, the seas have parted. And I'm like, holy cow, I didn't even realize traffic started flowing
Oh,
again.
yeah.
And I'm never late. But as long as I condemn and curse, it's reflected back to me. That's what got me so excited, Sally, that made me go,
Yeah.
this is it. I want more of this, and I will do anything you recommend to learn how to live this way.
Yeah. Oh, I agree with you. I mean, when you finally find this stuff and you start to read it and you believe it and you live it, it's like your whole world changes.
Yes.
Everybody, it's like you try to explain it to people and they look at you like, what are you talking about? And finally, they get it after a while because it does take time. It doesn't happen overnight. We've been brainwashed for years,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, you get the word coming through, and people think you're crazy or they don't believe what you're saying, and then you're fighting the devil with them, trying to get them to understand. Our minister, Sky Kirshner, he's been teaching a program on the internet called motivational interviewing. And what it is talking to people and gently asking them questions, and they will tell you what they're upset about or how they need to, whatever it is. And by listening to them intently and hearing what they're saying, then you can turn that over into a positive and
Always.
allow them to hear your side of it, or to put a light on it, light the candle, that you'll see that it's not as bad as you think.
Yeah.
And this is a great way to start conversations with people and to find out what it is. what's wrong? What are you fighting with that you don't want to give,
Yes.
you don't want to let go of? There's got to be a better way, because this isn't working for you.
Yeah.
You have to, you've got to let go of the negative and allow the positive to come in and let the light come in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a program at church just 2 weeks ago, the lighting of the 12 candles. And each one of them had to do with the 12 powers. And each one of them is the way to thinking about that. If you think about, like you said, lighting the candle, and you light 12 of them and they're all in a row, then you've got all of the 12 powers within you. And that light shines the way for you to find those. And you just have to search and keep reading and relax and pray and let go of the negative.
Now,
Yeah.
can you share that what the 12 powers are for some of our listeners or viewers
I
that
would
may
be
not know?
glad to. Thank you
Yes.
for asking.
Thank you.
Okay. The first one is faith, zeal, understanding, will, imagination, dominion, wisdom and judgment, order, life, elimination, love, and strength. Those are the 12 powers that we talk
Great.
about at Unity as part of what we want to pray about. We want to pray for strength. We're praying for will. We're praying for imagination.
Yeah.
You all were
Right.
talking about imagination earlier. Imagination is what creates what we see and what we think.
Mm-hmm.
I was in advertising for 25 years, and it was the greatest job I ever could have had, because I didn't think I had any talent, but I could cut and paste like a champ. I
Mm.
mean, seriously, I worked for the newspaper, and back in those days, we didn't have graphics and all that stuff. You had to cut pictures out of books and lay it down and write copy with it.
Mm.
That's how and I got really good at it too. And I was like, daggone it, I have some talent after all, because when you're growing up, you think, well, I can't do all that. I don't know what I'm going to be when I grow up. And, somebody walked up to me out of the blue and said, would you like to sell radio advertising? And I said, well, yeah, what do you do? And he goes, well, you go out and you talk to people. And I said, oh, that sounds like fun. And I said, but how does it work? And he goes, well, you talk them into buying advertising to be on the radio. And I said, I've listened to the radio for like 20 years, and it never dawned on me that you had to sell advertising to get somebody
Yeah.
to be on the radio. Because I always thought that they wanted to be there, but
Right.
it's not But there again, I got to talk to people and walk into their business and get to know them and have a great life doing what I love.
Oh man. This is how things work when we're just going with the flow, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is going with the flow. It's somebody asking you to do something and you saying, "Okay, I'll do it." Yes. Yeah.
Right.
I'll give it a try. If
Yeah.
it doesn't work out, I'll go to something else. But 9 times out of 10, when somebody offers you something like that, they've seen something in you that they think would be good for you, and their goodness and imagination is working in on you. So
Yes.
both of
Yes.
you win. Both of you win.
They've already are praying, even though they're not calling it a prayer on our
Yes,
behalf. When someone's recommending, it means they're already convinced somewhere in themselves, and they could see us with a higher perspective
effective.
than we can see ourselves in that moment.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
done so many things that way,
Yeah. Same.
thanks to friends of mine who have seen, said, "Oh, you could do this. Okay. Well, you should try
Yeah.
this. Okay. Why don't you go do this? All right." And even if it had a little bit of fear of how is that going to work out, I still just went, okay. And as soon
Yeah.
as we agree, and that's the big part,
That's it.
It's simply agreeing with it instead of going, no, I don't know. I don't know how to do that. Yeah. We're snuffing out our own candle. If someone's
Yeah.
lighting your candle, just say, okay.
Yeah, let her rip. Let it
Yeah.
shine. Yep. And when you talked about the interviewing
Yes.
process, that ability, it's one of the things I learned when I got the master's in spiritual psychology. We just practice that kind
Yep.
of stuff. And I mean, anyone could do it. But what I was going to say is that is what has made my career as an educator in special education, where I meet with families, and oftentimes they've come, it's challenging for them, and they're not getting always the most love and encouragement, whatever. So some of them have guarded, and they have their own stuff or whatever. But what I was going to say, like I've talked about it many times, but what I was going to say is why I've been effective is because I listen for I always say there's one thing that they care about. And
That's it.
if I can listen, it
What
takes
do they care
vulnerability.
about?
It takes the vulnerability to say, look, this isn't really about me. That's the number one thing. Because most of the time we're trying to guard ourselves. We're afraid this is about us. But if we do our morning routine and we realize I'm letting go of all self-judgment and no judgment, and get ourselves in that place. So I often encounter people that maybe they've had a lot of meetings that didn't go well, and I get this story and I just drop the whole story. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time, like you said, more than one. I have to kind of know them for a minute. But what changes it is that I'm always listening for the thing they care about. I'm not just just randomly throwing things out of fear that I think they might be concerned about, because sometimes it has nothing to do with all that other stuff.
Right.
But you find the one thing and you answer that, and now there's trust and understanding, and their candle is lit. And I'm really close friends with several people like that who are my biggest fans now, because I was willing to just stand in what you might call the fire and realize this has nothing to do with me, just be a loving presence long enough for them to remember what's what, and like kind of rehabilitate their own perspective on things.
Yeah.
And
That's absolutely right. Yeah.
And that's
That's
another
what
part about being the candle and helping other people. Is just
Right.
kind of just not taking responsibility, and just giving someone a space to kind of sometimes, you don't want to spend too much time with someone who's not willing to come off it, but you give them a chance. Like, let's let this pass and see if they're ready to move through it. And if they are, let's go, and amazing things can happen.
And it could happen at any moment. I mean, I've got a friend that I knew him years and years ago, didn't really know him very well at all. And we've become friends, and he's been a candle for me. He's made me see things that I didn't see. And, up until then, I was like, I don't think I can do that. And it's like, no, yeah, you can. Yeah. So it's nice to have new people always coming into your life. That's why it's important when you go out, you smile, you say hello. How are you doing? You don't know. Every time you pass somebody, that person could be a candle lighter for you, and you for them. It works, and it's always available. It's always out there. You just got to step up and do it. A smile, a nod, look somebody in the eye from a distance. I mean, if you see somebody who's in trouble, go over and say, can I help you?
Right.
Can I give you a ride, or do you need some money, or, what's wrong here? What can I do? Hello, good looking.
That's good.
For those on the audio podcast, Gidget has made her presence felt. I got to read you guys something from Raymond Charles Barker that goes along with what you're talking about, the difference in the way unity or this tradition or metaphysical approach to the Bible. Because here's the thing, that it is not opposing any religion. Like anyone who's practicing a religion. This is taking a deeper look at the metaphorical, metaphysical meaning, the parable meaning of these stories, which is what that's how Jesus taught. This is not like going into this is actually going into a more sane view, a more grounded, a more practical view. It blows our mind. We become mystics because that's what it's about. But I don't want people thinking that the writing this off. Well, I mean, I really don't care. It's not my business. But for myself, I keep realizing what these early teachers are saying, that this is a science. This is not,
Not-
oh, you're just going to make, no, we're actually looking deep. This is not about making up meaning. This is about finding the true meaning. And it's written inside of us. When we tap into it, you know it. When you start to feel it, you know it. And so Raymond Charles Barker, in The Science of Successful Living, or Spiritual Formula for a Joyous Life, says, if you treat your thinking by making statements like those above, he's talking about affirmations, several times each day, you'll find old conditions passing away, new situations being born. Same thing with the treatment of how it removes old negatives from your consciousness. It takes daily practice. And he says the daily practice is spiritual life insurance. And then he says, here's the difference. He says, beseeching a creative mind and spirit was discovered to be a useless device, and the new form of prayer, based on scientific mental statements, was developed. In scientific prayer, you manipulate, this is what Daryl was saying earlier, you manipulate states of consciousness within yourself. You change your I change my state of consciousness, infusing into my mind spiritual ideas, which then transform them into creative operating centers. We become candles, right? You deny all negatives by saying they cannot be. You then affirm the spiritual positive you want to experience. Because you see it, you begin to know if it is true, right? You need never plead again for your good to happen. Pleading to a God is a waste of energy, and it usually only increases the problem you want dissolved. Because the pleading is saying this is real. The pleading is reaffirming it as real. The ideas which will solve your problems. And this is the glory of God to me, the glory of the good. The ideas which will solve your problem are already in your mind, for the divine mind has placed them there. Your denial of the problem and your affirmation of having the right idea to solve it causes the divine idea to reveal itself in your thinking. And it does. And it will.
Does. Absolutely.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Should we get into
Good
the
stuff.
Joyce Kramer reading
Yeah.
there? Sal?
Oh, yeah. Forgot all about that. Okay. Here we go. Unity Minister Joyce Kramer. I am happy and successful in my work, and I radiate joy and goodwill. Do you go to work each day with an attitude of joy? Do you feel good about what you bring into your world? Do you radiate happiness as you give of yourself in purposeful activity? Work gives you an opportunity to express your talents and abilities. Learn to focus your attention on the good things it offers. Examine your reactions to the circumstances and people around you. Make sure your attitude is positive and pleasant. Successful workers hold thoughts that produce happiness and cheerfulness. The prosperous person radiates joy and goodwill. Your work, your co-workers, and all of the surrounding circumstances will reflect the attitude that you are radiating. To you, O Lord, brings steadfast love. For you reward all people according to your work. Psalms 62:12. And the affirmation, my goodwill is a strong tower around me. I now change all enemies into friends, all inharmony into harmony, all injustice into justice. Florence Scovel Shen.
Wow.
Wow.
And so it is. Amen.
Yes.
You know, another friend of ours, Susan Hodgson, we got an email from her, and Daryl and I like this one for the show, it's from Mary Kupferle, another great teacher and author. Trust in the Goodness of God is the book. She says, God's presence and power are not only with you, but within you and working for you. Rest and let go of any need to force something to happen. Give yourself over to a divine outworking as you allow God to freely work through you. The Creator's desire is to provide the healing supply, and goodness of life that sustains you. As you grasp this idea and give thanks that it is true, remind yourself, God's Spirit of good is at work for me now. Mary Kupferle, trust in the goodness of God.
Wow.
And that is what Daryl and I particularly love about the old Unity teachers in particular. Science of Mind can lean a little heavy and it's all in your mind and your thinking. And Unity, I feel like we always talk about, kind of offers this. Sometimes the only prayer you got to do is, and Edmund Fox talks about this, I don't even need to pray right now because I'm feeling so like I'm confused or I'm so stressed. The prayer is just, I know God's doing the work, or God's spirit of good is at work for me now. That's all I need to know. I don't even have to formulate some kind
Or
of.
God, I'm trusting.
Yeah.
I'm
God, I'm
trusting.
trusting.
Yes, I trust. I
I'm
believe
trusting.
the answer will come. I
Yeah.
may not know it right now, but it will come if I just settle down and relax.
That's right. And we don't have to earn it. We just got to let it in. We just got to let it in.
Yeah, because it's already given to us.
Yeah. That's the
Yeah.
amazing thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh my God. We're just claiming the good that's already been given to us. Well, Sally Reed
Are we
Snyder.
done?
Oh, we want to thank you for coming on. We got a couple things before you go, but I wanted to say Vicki Carolyn said she loves Marianne Williamson. Thank you, you guys, sending so much love. CC Gaitan said, I love prayer ministers. Thank you, Sally. She is a prayer minister from
Ventura.
Unity Ventura. And then Grace Deathridge said, thank you all for shining bright. So we want to appreciate all the people out there. In YouTube land, if you like the video, like it, click the little thumbs up.
Or to subscribe.
And then subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't already. And then join us every week. We love having you, and we love the comments. It's so good.
And now we have a little story about you, Sally, when you were a little girl. Yes, we got this from TMZ, West Virginia.
Yeah. And
EMC.
we're going to be bothering you again in the future, by the way, to join us
Sure,
again.
help yourself.
We love it. Thank you
This
so
ought
much.
to be interesting. What did I do now?
All right. Well, apparently when Sally Reed Snyder was a little girl, she was waiting for her mother to come out of the grocery store. As she waited, she was approached by a man who asked,
Little girl, can you tell me where the post office is?
Sally replied,
Sure. Just go straight down the street a couple of blocks and turn to your right.
The man thanked Sally kindly and said,
I'm the new pastor in town, and I'd like for you to come to church on Sunday. I'll show you how to get to heaven.
Sally replied with a chuckle.
Ah, come on. You don't even know the way to the post office.
Where can people find us here? What do I say here at the end of the show here? And then let's just do it once and be on our way.
Well,
I have a special message that
we just want to say thanks for being a part of Funniest Thing. Please subscribe and share the show with your friends.
Yeah, so apparently, this is very much like what you guys are talking about. When opportunity knocks, you got to take it. So
That's right.
I think this is originally from the Bible. Jesus was approaching some Daryl and Ed type characters. And, you just got to jump on board when Jesus says, we've got 2 tickets to paradise. Won't you pack your bags? We'll leave tonight. We've got 2 tickets to paradise. We've got
2 tickets to
paradise. Yeah.
I don't really think that's the melody.
Have a great one, everybody.
Matter.
Daryl and Ed, love you.
Let's see.
Y'all have a
Thanks
good
so
day.
much.
Bye. Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Sally. Give our love to
Thank
everyone at Unity of Kanawha Valley.
I will.
Unity.
Bye.